Hi guys, welcome back to Life with Dinzo. If you're new here, my name is Dinley, and yeah, I know it's been a hot minute. It's been about 3 weeks since I last uploaded a new video. It's just that a lot has been happening. If I can give you a small life update, we finally moved, so I'm very excited for that. We're actually in our new house. Lots of unpacking, lots of unloading, lots of decluttering has been happening. But I'm so glad that the whole experience is finally over and we get to enjoy our brand new house. We've got so much space. So that's what's been happening. Yeah, I mean, I think initially when we started moving, we used a full week to move, by the way. So Isaac and I were making multiple trips to and from both our houses just to make sure we carry all the little stuff that we can carry in our personal cars, so that when the big move happens on Saturday, we have eliminated most of the stuff, or rather that is what we thought. But come Saturday, we were moving until 1 a.m. So we still had so much more to do. We still had so much more to unpack. Um, but yeah, I'm happy that the move is finally done. The only downside is there's still a lot of dust, and I think practically there's a cold happening in the house. It started from Isaac. I've got a bit of a sore throat now, and I think I pray it doesn't go to the baby or my mom. But apart from that, we are all doing well. So I hope you guys have been doing well since the last time we chatted. Today's video is something that probably I should have done as my first YouTube video, because I mean, if you've been watching my previous videos, you know that I'm talking about life in Australia and how the whole process can go, and I'm sort of talking to a lot of new students coming here and just trying to give them that advice and reassurance that, you know, come 3 years down the lane, things will be completely different. So today we are going to talk about student visa application process. Yeah, so if you are keen to hear more about this, then you're definitely in the right place. Stay tuned as we unpack how the whole process goes from start to finish. So as you guys know, I always like to go back to 2016 when I started the whole process for me. But this time I'll take you back to 2015 because that's when I actually started the visa application process, or rather that is when I started thinking about moving overseas to do my master's. And if I can be honest with you guys, Australia was not anywhere on my list of countries, of places that I wanted to go and pursue my higher degree. I always wanted to go to Canada, and I had done a lot of research on Canada, and I'd done research on schools, I'd done research on English speaking states. Like, I knew so much about Canada. So even when I approached an agent to talk to them about where I wanted to go, that is where I envisioned myself going. So it was always Canada. But I'll tell you how everything went on. So back in 2015, I think late 2015, around October, November, I got this idea that I wanted to come overseas to do my master's. And I had a friend who'd moved to Australia, and they gave me a referral to this agency that they used. So they used an agency called PFL, and they actually referred me to go there. So I went to PFL. They were located in Westlands. I paid 15,000, and they told me I needed to get 2 things ready. So even before you start the whole application process, you need to have 2 things ready. One is you need to have your English test done. So you can either do IELTS or you can do PTE. And I know for IELTS there is a charge. I think during my time I paid around 25,000, but I think it's probably more now thanks to COVID and all that stuff. But you also needed to have booked in advance. So you book through British Council, and then you go in. It's a 4-part test. You've got the listening, you've got the speaking, you've got the reading, and you've got writing. So it comes in 4 parts. I think I remember I went to the embassy to do my speaking, and then I did the reading. I did the other 3 on a later date because they involve writing an essay and listening and doing all that stuff. So that is the first thing that you need to do, and you need to make sure you do well, because most of the unis in Australia, based on my research, they will ask you to have scored up to 6 in every band. So minimum you can get is 6. Usually think it's up to 9 or 10, but you can't go lower than 6 because they'll not allow you to enroll to their school. So you need to have your English test and you need to have your passport. So those are the first 2 things that the agent told me to have. I already had my passport, so I went in, I booked in, I did my English test, I passed on, and I had those 2 documents. And then we had the whole discussion of which schools I wanted to attend, and they would take on the application process for me. So this is November. Come December, January, February, I still haven't had anything from the agents. So I was a bit skeptical. I was wondering what's going on. I call them, they're not picking up. I go to that location where PFL was located, and I find out that they have relocated. Actually, I'm being told that PFL, the parent company, which was located in South Africa, decided to close off the Nairobi branch. So in a way, I'm kind of back to square one. I've already lost 15,000 and I don't even have a school. It's already early Jan, and I know that early February, and I know that intakes for the next intake is in July. My preference was to go for the February intakes, but now I needed to wait until July. So I was panicky, not too panicky, but I thought, you know what, I am always the kind of person who likes to do a lot of research. And so I started researching other agents, and I said that I was not going to pay anyone any more money to do this for me, because I've already been scammed out of 15,000 and I'm not going to do that again. So I started looking around, and I got this agency called Unisav. They're also located in Westlands, and they actually don't charge you anything when it comes to applications, like student applications. So I went in, I saw them, and I got an agent, and that's how we started the whole process of applying schools to Australia, because she actually encouraged me to change my mindset from Canada to Australia. Yeah, so that is a very long story, but long story short is the reason why I am talking about student visas is because they are the most costly way for you to move overseas, but they are also the most straightforward way for you to move overseas. I mean, there's other types of visas. There's things like partner visa. You could get sponsorships from work. You could get skill migration. Like, there's so many different types of visas, but those ones take so much more time, and they also require you to have a specific skill for a country like Australia to actually take you on. So that's why I always feel like going the student visa route is easier and faster, but it's also the most expensive one. Yeah, if you get my drift. Anyways, so let's say you want to come to Australia and you want to come do your bachelor's or your master's. The process is pretty much the same for either or. For starters, you need to have your English test done, and you need to have your passport done, because those are the 2 most important documents, and they also do take a while before you can get them. Like, I mean, you know how the passport application process in Kenya can be very lengthy. The second thing is you need to have an agent. So you cannot apply to a school directly from Kenya or by yourself. You actually need to be represented by an agent, and they've got a list of agents that they can refer you to speak to so that they can actually help with the application process. And I remember I asked one of the schools why they needed an agent to apply for me, because I mean, I can do it by myself, I can still provide the same documents. So I didn't really quite understand why they needed an agent to do this. And the school actually answered me. They told me that it's because when your documents come through an agent, they've been certified through the agency, so the school knows that these documents are legit. So that's why you need to go through an agent in order for the school to actually accept your application. Yeah, so I used Unisav for my application. They usually apply up to 3 unis for you. I got a school in Melbourne, I got a school in Sydney, and I got a school in South Australia. And I opted to go with Melbourne, and I think it was a very good decision that I made. So once you get your offer letter from the school, you need to pay your first semester tuition fee, so that you can get something called a confirmation of enrollment. Usually comes back to you after 48 hours after you've paid your fee. And then once you have the COE, that's when you can now apply for the visa, because that is what they need for the visa application process. Yeah, so I opted to go with Melbourne because, to be honest, I had not done a lot of research on Australia. And if I had done research on Australia, there's a probability that I wouldn't have come to Melbourne. I would have probably gone to South Australia, because South Australia is regional, and I know that later on a lot of people are trying to go back into regional to be able to help them with their permanent residency applications and you know, other things like that. But that's later on. That's a story for another day. Yeah, so I opted to come to Melbourne. And the good thing about Unisav is they'll take on the application process for you. You will not pay them anything, because the school actually pays the agents to bring on students onto their unis. And then after that, we now started the visa application process. Now, if you choose to go with an agent that doesn't charge you, it means that you are solely responsible for the visa application process, as opposed to if you go with an agent that actually will charge you, they will also take on the visa application process for you. So it is sort of like a catch-22. Which one do you prefer? I think I prefer to do these things for myself, because I feel like you can never go wrong with trusting your gut. You know, the process is very easy, especially now. Back then, I had to do a paper-based application process. So I literally needed to get all my documents certified, you know, my school certificates, passport, land documents, bank statements. They ask you for so many documents, birth certificates. I needed to get all these documents certified. So I had to take them to a lawyer, get the lawyer to sign on them, and then I take all these documents to the embassy to apply for the visa. You see, it was very costly and it was such a long process. But nowadays, it's so easy. So once you have your COE, what you can do is you can go into your IMI account. So that's the immigration account for Australia. You can create a new account, and then you can apply, you can put in a new application for student visa, and they ask you all the questions on the website, or rather on your profile, or rather on your IMI account. And it's very easygoing. Like, it's literally, it's things you can do, you know. It is things that you don't need to pay someone else to do it for you, because you can do it by yourself. They'll just ask for your personal details, they'll ask for your ID documents, ask about any family being left back home, and then they'll ask about your medical history, and then that's it. And then they ask you to attach the documents. It's like 18 pages, but of very simple, very straightforward questions that you can do by yourself. And then once you've answered all the questions, At the end, before you pay, they will ask you to attach the documents. And these are the same documents that I had to take to the embassy, because these are things that you already have, like your passport, your ID, your qualifications, what else? Your bank statements, your COE, offer letter, all these documents, literally they are written down for you, and all you have to do is, there's usually a question mark at the end of every question. If you don't understand what the documents are, you can click on the question mark and it will take you to another page, and it will explain more as to what is required of you to do. So it's very easy, it's very straightforward. I have done so many visas. After I did my student visa, I did my TR visa, I've done my partner visa, I have applied for my mom's visitor visa to come here, I've applied for my sister's student visa. So it's very, very, very easy. So instead of being scared, you can actually just go onto the website and apply and see how you go. So once you've put in the application and you've paid the application fee, then it will take you back to the home page. And for people coming from Africa or Kenya or certain countries, you are required to do biometrics and you are required to do medical assessment. So those are two extra things that you'll have to do. And the good thing is, the documents that you need to print out to take to biometric center or to take to IOM to do your medicals are attached in the visa, and they can also be emailed to you. So all you have to do is download these documents, and then you get your HAP ID, you take it, you go to IOM, you do your medicals, and the results will be sent directly to the embassy, and you don't even need to wait for results. It will just be automatically sent there. You don't need to upload anything. And then your same thing to your biometrics, you just print it out, go to biometrics collection center, get your fingerprints done, and then the information will be sent directly to the embassy. You literally do not need to upload this or do anything. And then once that has been done, all you have to do is just sit and wait for your visa to be approved. So such an easy process. I know it sounds like I've spoken and spoken and spoken for so long, but I'm telling you, once you have started applying for that visa, or rather once you've started the process, it will take you no less than a week to finish everything, especially if you have all the documents ready, then it should take you no less than a few hours to complete. Yeah, so that's the whole visa application process. Now, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Now, before you even apply for the visa, I think this is something I should have probably mentioned in the beginning of this video. I think you need to also understand what your purpose is. Are you wanting to move overseas to stay long term, or are you wanting to move overseas for a short period of time? Because if you're wanting to come here and stay long term, then all the decisions that you have to make should start from back home to help you have a pathway to getting your permanent residency. So let's say things like where you want to go to school, you could opt to come to Melbourne or Sydney or Gold Coast, which are very big cities, but it also means that the cost of living is really high, and applying for permanent residency is a little bit harder as opposed to someone who goes to a place like South Australia, Tasmania, Brisbane, which are smaller cities, and you know that the process is a little bit lenient for you. So these are things that you need to research before you actually opt to take on a school and come. This is something that I did not do for myself because I didn't put in the research in Australia, and I also feel like these are not things that your agent can tell you. Also the course that you're wanting to do, are you wanting to come here and do a skill that is needed, which will help you get work sponsorships or even help you get points to get your permanent residency, or are you coming to do any other course that after you're done with your course, be it a 2-year course, be it a 3-year course, you're back to square one and you're needing to either relocate to a different state, or you're needing to do a completely new course to be able to give you the skills required for you to get permanent residency. So these are things that you need to research and talk to people about before you even apply for school. I feel like if you go to an agent and you already have this information handy and you already know this is what I want to do, then it's going to be easy for them to actually find you that school, as opposed to them giving you all this advice and say do business or do human resources, or do, not that those are bad courses, I'm just saying if your plan is to come here and stay long term, then you need to start your pathway to permanent residency from back in Kenya, so that when you come here, or even back from wherever you're applying from, you need to start this process from back home, so that when you come here, you already have one foot in. You've already started the process. You already know that after you've completed your student visa, after you've completed your studies, then you've got a way forward. You know, you don't need to go back. So yeah, that's all I wanted to tell you guys. I'm probably gonna keep this video short and sweet, but in my next video we're going to dig deeper into what happens after you've gotten your student visa, you've come to Australia, you've completed your studies. What are the next steps? What is required of you to help you probably achieve or be able to get your permanent residency, which is the goal for everyone. Yeah, so thank you guys for taking the time to watch my video, spending a little bit of time with me, and I will catch you all in my next video. Thanks.